Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time and depending when you're going to be seeing this video. It's your brother, your boy, courserepscorner. Like I always tell you guys, it's my corner, it's your corner, and it's our corner.
I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love.
IPs. Mr. President, Senate notes that the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System (IPS) was introduced by the federal government sometimes in October 2006 as a reform measure aimed at improving efficiency and effectiveness in the storage of federal government employee records and administration of their monthly payroll in such a manner as to guarantee confidence in staff emolument cost and budgeting. Also note that the primary motive for the introduction of IPs was to take advantage of existing information and technology ICT on personnel and payroll management in other parts of the world to ensure that ghost workers are eliminated while bona fide federal government employees are paid accurately and timely. Observe that since its introduction in 2006, over 2 million federal government employees across 696 ministries, departments, and agencies, including some staff of federal government-owned universities and other tertiary institutions, have been reportedly captured on IP's platform. Recall also that the use of IPs for storage of personnel records and management of payroll in federal government-owned university was a thorny issue between the federal government and academic staff union of universities, ASU, during the recent suspended strike embarked upon by ASU. Further note that while the federal government insisted that IPs remain the best personnel records and payroll management system to be used for storage of record and management of payroll of university staff, ASU took a different position, recommending the University Transparency and Accountability Solution (OTAS) as an alternative that is most suitable for university, particularly. Concerned that while the federal government and ASU were unable to reach an agreement regarding which of the two payment platforms to be adopted for management of university payroll, staff payroll, recent allegation of bribery, corruption and delay in capturing and payment of some university staff recruited as far back as 2020 through the IPs has called for urgent investigation of those irregularities because of the untold hardship caused to affected university staff and their families. Mr. President, informed that in many federal government universities, staff employed as far back as 2020 are yet to be captured on IP's platform and therefore not paid their salaries since they were recruited about 3 years ago. Also informed that some of the affected staff cutting across many universities have been alleged to bribe IP's officials for the purpose of getting captured on the platform, and also concerned that allegation of bribery, corruption, delay in capturing and payment of salaries of newly recruited staff of federal government-owned universities have caused serious doubt on the credibility and suitability of IPs as a platform for managing the payroll of university staff as institution clothed with autonomy for the purpose of teaching, learning, and research. Accordingly, resolves the Senate set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption of IPs officials at various universities across the Federation, delay capturing and payment of staff of federal government-owned universities who were recruited as far back as 2020, and to make a report on the status of the disagreement between the federal government and ASU on the use of either IPs or OTAS as the preferred payment platform for Nigerian university staff, and also mandate the ad hoc committee to interact with the head of service, national president of ASU, the chairman of committee of vice chancellors of Nigerian universities, and other relevant stakeholders in carrying out its mandates, and to report back within 2 weeks for further legislative action. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you.
Any seconder?
To allege that there are university lecturers or staff who have been in the employment of their universities and they have not been paid for 10 years, even 1 year. How do they survive? I think what we can do is not to take these allegations as a given. I was and I'm still a labor man. It is the prerogative. No, I am serious, please. Even in the Senate, my constituency remains the working class, regardless of what anybody wants to think. But it is the prerogative of the employer to determine the payment system that will enable fraud in his payroll. It is not that of the employee. However, where employee has proof that because a particular payment system was introduced, his pay has been delayed or denied, it is up to him to do a petition. Mr. President, listening to, I have not read all the rules. This Senate has not received petition from lecturers claiming that they have not been paid. If they have received, then we investigate those cases on merit. I don't want us without enough information to delve into something that is very complicated, because when you hear from the side of government will tell you that the problem is that there are some lecturers who work in 3 universities and receiving salary from all. So these are not things you want to delve into, because when this House takes a motion, it must be based on facts, no speculation, and where we are in doubt, we can invite people quietly to investigate. Because it will be a sad day if we go into a matter and we just discover that we are just acting on the basis of social media. But I stand to say, any payment system that denies a worker his wages after 30 days is not only unacceptable, it is absolutely illegal. Because under the Nigeria labor laws, salaries cannot be delayed or deferred in excess of 30 days. That is a law, even though that law is broken by all manners of employers, particularly in the public sector. So I am for it. But I don't want us to take stories that look so incredible and on the basis of that appear to have taken or appear to take a position. So I support the idea of assuring that he who works must be paid, and paid as at when due. But as about the system of effecting that payment to ensure that fraud is eliminated is not as simple as some people might put it. This is the only country I've had cause to argue where government officials steal money, they call them ghost workers. And I say, in which part of the world do you call ghosts? The other meaning of ghosts is that they are invisible. So if you have from all these successful foreign ministers, we do have a problem of allegations of people over invoices, etc. We also do have issues of people who are not working, who get their pay every month, but they are not even in the country. So this is a complex issue that I want us to reflect deeply on, so that we do not appear to make assumptions on the basis of information that we have not verified and we have not confirmed. And we need to be careful not to renew what government is trying to sort out. And as I'm here, I don't have all the facts. But I think we do need to exercise some caution.
Oh, thank you. The distinguished Senator OSHIOMOLE, they can make any allegation they want to make and request for investigation. They have immunity to what they say here. So, but if you look at the motion very well, you see it said concerned that the allegations is not conclusion. He said, concerned that the allegations of bribery, corruption, and delayed capturing and payment of salaries of newly recruited staff of federal government-owned universities have cast serious doubt on the credibility and suitability of IPs as a platform for managing the payroll of university staff as institutions clothed with autonomy for the purposes of teaching, learning, and research. So he's talking about allegations. It's not conclusive. So Senator Mbigi, so you can even make that allegation if you want to, but I'm not saying you should do so. But I say in this case, you said alleged, allegations, alleged. You did not conclude. Even if you want to say somebody is corrupt, say so. You have immunity. But we will investigate to know whether the person is actually corrupt. You know, but they can't take you to court. That is why you are here. So that's why you are distinguished senators and distinguished members of this Hello Chamber. Senator Garba, you have something to add? The problem here is that let me get somebody who has had experience in payment of salaries and disbursements to universities to throw a little light before we go into the prayers. Distinguished Senator Dan Kwambo, former Accountant General of the Federation. What?
Your Excellency, is one of the initiatives and reforms program of the federal government from 2003 to date. And I have been privileged to chair the implementation of IPs. Before IPs, salaries of the federal government are paid through allocation. Allocation in the budget in the sense that Ministry A is given any amount, B is given any amount, C any amount. And that is how it goes. And there were a lot of leakages and there were a lot of loopholes. So the federal government decided to centralize the payment to make sure that each kobo that goes out of the treasury is accounted for. And that was exactly how the IPS implementation started. So 1 million license was acquired to register 6 ministries. And when we started the data capture in 2007, by the time we finish the 6 ministries, less than 1/10 of the license that was acclaimed or assumed to would have been utilized was used. So, and the expansion and the enrollment continued. By the time I left as Accountant General in 2010, we had not finished utilizing the licenses. So maybe one of the challenges might be in the acquisition of more license to capture more people. But I must say, as at that time, the federal government has saved billions of naira. It's one of the best reform program of federal government that was praised and appreciated by everybody. Secondly, because the implementation was in phases, when it reached the term of the universities, like somebody said, that the university can employ any number of people they wanted to employ and just pass the bill to the federal government. The IPs is integrated personnel and payroll. Personnel. So there must be adequate record. You cannot just wake up and say you will employ. You cannot just wake up and say you will dismiss. You cannot just wake up and say you can do increment or do this thing and do, not in a structured personnel management system. And those are the issues that has been lingering between ASU and the federal government. I think these are entirely a different thing. Maybe there are more things that happen between ASU and federal government. But in this matter, like he said, it is not the problem of the technology IPs. but it's more of the problem of people that are implementing the technology. Of course, if you are getting press and you want to be enrolled quickly, some people will go behind and do anything. So that allegation may be correct. And anywhere, any human management system that can give you money or that gives money, and if you are not careful, people may be tempted to take advantage of that system. So I think it's more of the technology. It's not of the technology, but of the people. So I support, as a pioneer promoter of this program, that it should be investigated so that appropriate measures can be put in place to ensure that Nigeria continue to benefit. Frauds are eliminated or minimized, and ensure efficiency in the payment of wages and salary in Nigeria. I so submit, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So we look at the prayers. Prayer 1, set up of bribery and corruption of IPPIS officials at various universities across the nation, delayed capturing and payment of staff of federal government-owned universities who were recruited as far back as 2020, and to make a report on the status of the disagreement between the federal government and ASU on the use of either the IPPIS or UTAS as the preferred payment platform for Nigerian university staff. Any comments or any? Yes, Deputy Senate President, you want to?
Yes, before I make my amendment, let me just say one thing, elaborate explanation, because it would be unfair.
Use your campaign voice.
Okay, sorry. Let me be frank, it would be unfair of me to be here without saying something about this issue, because I was once a chairman of tertiary education at TED Fund, and I know that there was a very big problem between the federal government and ASU. Why was that? Why? And I think the problem has not yet been solved, because they believe that they need to have their own system, different from IPs, because they feel IP does not take cognizance of their own peculiarities. And that has been the argument. It's not about corruption or whatever, because they feel theirs is a different arrangement altogether, and they ought to have their own system that will go in tandem with their operations. That's the argument, and up to now it has not been solved. Number 2, IPs is all about making sure that we do not spend money that we don't need to spend, that others don't steal our money. And it's been working very well. And even the delays that we're experiencing as we speak, I'm talking from the point of view or from what I gathered when I was chairman of the Appropriation Committee, because we've been having enlarged personnel, provision in our budget year in, year out. So the federal government warned the Accountant General Office and in fact the Ministry of Finance that, look, we need to make sure that we don't have an increase every year in our personnel provision in the budget. And so there was a stringent arrangement that was brought to play that anything that we need to go to the IPs, the budget office must give approval, Accountant General must give approval, and so on and so forth. So that's why you have these delays, and it is for the good of the country. So let us be informed as to what is happening. And I think, second and Arrow Committee to look at this issue, we know this issue already. This matter should be allowed. If there's anything, when we have a standing committee on education,
So you're amending the first prayer?
Something based on what I've said. Let me go to the amendment. That this prayer 1, it is said on Arrow Committee that the matter should be referred to the standing committee when constituted. Look at the matter. So I so move.
The first prayer has been amended, motion moved and seconded, that the standing committee on tertiary education should be urged to look into this issue, investigate the allegations, hearing, with a view to bringing the report back to this distinguished hallowed chamber. Those in support of this amendment say aye. Those against say nay. Prayer 1 is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education. Yes, all important motion, and also thank my distinguished colleagues for your contributions, and to say that yes, indeed, when the final report of the investigation comes before this Senate, I will be very glad to look into them, because the issues are very germane. They touch on the lives of future generation, because when we do not put the educational system right, it means that we'll be increasing insecurity in the system in future because of the kind of products that will come out from the various universities. When the teachers are not happy, when the lecturers are not happy, their output will also be limited, and this will impede the growth of education in the country. I thank you so much.